Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Super Bowl time. It's winter. Winter has come. Winter is here. We're gonna talk about God a little bit today. We're gonna talk about so many different things. It's the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and I appreciate you all joining us. Let me quickly bring in my co-host because we have a lot to get to. With all the things going on in sports, we had a great championship weekend. We got to get going. So let me bring in from Louisville, Kentucky, Mr. Brandon Rush. Brandon, how are you, buddy?
I'm digging out from a foot of snow, as I know much of the south and eastern part of the country is done. But yeah, I feel like this might be a bit of a punishment because I bet against God last week. So this is an interesting time of year, but an intriguing Super Bowl matchup ahead of us. There's a lot to talk about for this game. A very intriguing game, but also kind of a boring game at the same time with these fan bases. I don't know what that means for us in Vegas for Super Bowl weekend. A lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff though.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles. As always, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to make money. Doesn't matter who plays. The one consistent thing about the service has been, and really what we've been doing for literally 25 years now or more, is winning Super Bowl weekend. I mean, it just almost always happens, especially with the prop bets now that are such a big part of it in the basketball, that even if you don't like the matchup or you don't want to factor in God's allegiance in this thing, which we'll talk about in a second. People are like, what he's talking about. If you don't want to factor that in, there's lots of opportunities to make money. Of course, the game, side total, and then much, much more as we head through Super Bowl weekend coming up here. Ready to make some money with that. Basketball's going, turn the corner. They're doing well. Soccer's consistently making money each and every month. So a great time to get signed up. FatJackSports.com. Get signed up today. Get those longer packages. Prices go up on all season packages on Super Bowl Sunday at midnight. The amount of months that you can pay out the service fee go down on Super Bowl Sunday at midnight. When you sign up today for the year, you get the baseball season for free. That will not happen after midnight Super Bowl Sunday. So a lot of reasons to get signed up. We may dive into that a little bit more later in the show because I gloss over it and then we move on to something that nobody cares about. Nobody cares about that either unless they're a client or need. But that's really important information because if you want to make money this year, you take advantage of these deals. You don't wait. If you want to make less money, you wait until August or September. I mean, that's really over 30 years now. That's been the consistent theme is that you either are taking advantage of these deals now if you listen to this show now. You save money, you get all the plays, you pay out the service fee over 8 months. You're going to go to 6 months on Monday of Super Bowl. So your payments are going to be higher. If you miss anything this spring or this summer, you're missing profit that's essentially free because you're going to pay more for the same package once we get to the fall. You're going to miss the futures bets that won and that are winning, that all cashed, and we were able to hedge out of the Rams bet this last weekend. All those plays you're not going to get. You're not going to get the World Cup this summer. Now is the time. FatJackSports.com. Sign up today and win this weekend. Seattle's playing New England in San Francisco. Brandon, thoughts on on the championship weekend, and then we do need to have a discussion on whether God is a New England Patriots fan or not. Because tell me what your thoughts overall of the two games. Where'd you land after the weekend?
I was surprised in a couple aspects that one the Cooper Kupp catch. It felt like it was glossed over really quickly in the terms of a replay process. I still think he was short of the line. I also think he didn't complete the process of the catch. If we're going off precedent that's been placed in many games in the NFL previously, the Seahawks are a buzzsaw. I mean, defensively they had some miscues, but I think I can maybe chalk that up to Puka Nacua being an incredible athlete, Matt Stafford being a great quarterback, and Sean McVay being a good play caller. So I don't have many negative takeaways from Seattle's behalf on that game. New England, they're lucky. That's all it can be. One, that Sean Payton made a dumb decision to not kick a field goal early when points were absolutely going to be at a premium. And two, they get a bit. Their only touchdown came from a borderline fumble interception call or a fumble forward pass call to kind of set them up. And obviously weather came in and shifted the whole tide of that second half. it was a wild weekend. But I still am waiting for the Patriots for a shoe to drop with them. And 17 weeks into the season, it still hasn't, and it's flabbergasting to me.
Yeah, and we may end up being after the Super Bowl saying the same thing. It's just if God is a Patriots fan, that's what happens. I don't know what's going on with New England. I really don't, and that's a little bit discouraging when we talk about the big game, because I've not been right on them all year long, nor have many people that handicap for a living.
Yep.
They've had the easiest schedule
Yep.
in the easiest regular season schedule in the history of the NFL. If you look at the numbers, they ran through the Chargers, that Justin Herbert, who needs to be in therapy right now, trying to figure out what his playoff version of him is versus the regular season. Their offensive line was horrible.
Mhm.
New England obviously has a good defense. You don't get to this point with having some of the pieces.
Yep.
Nobody's saying New England's not any good, but are they the best team in the AFC? Are they the?
I don't know. They're the best team in the AFC East.
So where are we with that? They run through all of the playoffs, and I don't like recency bias, but I do think it's important to highlight after I think us saying that they have the easiest schedule in the history of the NFL during the regular season. That kind of sums up what they went through all year.
Mm-hmm.
They won 4 games last year, so they got an easy schedule based on that also. Then they get in the playoffs, and they get 5 turnovers from.
Yeah, they like you mentioned, they played a Chargers team that had a shell-shocked quarterback and a horrible offensive line. They play a Houston team whose defense has led them the whole way, didn't have a great game, and C.J. Stroud turned the ball over a bajillion times. And then they get the Broncos team, who lose their quarterback a week before the championship game, and
still
found a way.
Won.
Yeah,
I mean, still probably if they just don't go for it on 4th down, which is a whole other thing. I think a lot of these coaches around the league need to take a different look at how many games it actually costs them to make uber aggressive decisions in games. And that's where I land, Brandon. Even if the analytics say you go for it there, if you know that you're going to have trouble scoring, and that, by the way, let's turn on the Weather Channel if you're a coach also, because and by the way, I've thousands and thousands. I had Denver plus the points, and so it gave it all to all the clients. We didn't talk about that. 3-1 last week. The only loss were the Rams. I had Denver, had under, had over in the Rams. All very, very easy games, easy wins. Had the Rams because I had the futures ticket and I did lean toward them. That came down to a couple of punt. The guy falls down, hits him in the shoulder.
Ugh.
They give up to get down in a very evenly matched game, which is exactly what I said, not only in the write-up but on every show and hit. Very evenly matched game. Turnovers are going to have a lot to do with it. That game, certainly you could argue, was determined by a couple of key mistakes. But with all that being said, if you know points if you just turn on the Weather Channel and you see that there's going to be some version of weather later, and you trust your defense, you kick the field goal there.
Yep.
Because you know you're up 10-0 now, and you have a defense that you believe is going to go get a stop from New England's offense. Now you get the ball back. To me, those type of decisions have not just with Sean Payton and not just with Denver, but they really have turned who might be playing now versus who is playing now.
Absolutely. It's a case where NFL coaches are often, I mean, they're put on a pedestal for, their stature in the business. They are some of the dumbest smart people that exist. Obviously you don't get to that position just kind of, unless you're Lane Kiffin, sometimes just kind of, failing upwards. Often you're obviously a smart person. You know what you're doing. And sometimes I think NFL coaches don't think that they're wrong ever. And so they're just like, oh, this is what we're doing. And don't think analytically when it's obvious that analytics at some point has gotten them into that point.
And people will move on after the Denver game, and they will not mention the weather, and they will talk about the turnovers. They will talk about the decision making, all that, but they will not talk about the weather. And I do not give Denver a pass on that. They weren't playing in New England.
You're in Denver in January. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
And your home TV is on the weatherman there. I don't even think you have to go out of your way to figure out what the weather's going to be. You just have to watch TV.
They probably do in between breaks, in between quarters. They might have a sponsored weather segment where a local weather guy comes on and be like, "Hey, late for the game today. Temperature is going to be here. Watch us on News 6."
It's ABC 7,
Mind-boggling.
I think,
Yeah.
is the one that's hooked up with the Broncos, and how are they not? How do they not know? That's even more reason to kick the field goal. Is my point. Your decision should be made on what's going to happen, and I'm not saying that they should have known that it was going to go literally from
Wide out.
sunny and nice to white out.
Right.
But if you know weather's coming, if you know it's going to get worse, you're kicking field goals early when you have, especially with the makeup of your team. You don't have a great quarterback. You can't come from behind.
You don't have your starting quarterback at that.
That's what. Yeah, that's what I mean. And you play defense. Your defensive team. Sean Payton and that staff cost that team.
Yep.
So back to New England, which is where we started this. God has to be a Patriots fan. I don't understand what's going on. I mean, where else would his allegiance lie? And I always think it's funny, Brandon. We're going to talk about the game, about the Super Bowl coming up. But I am always, I don't know, tickled by when players come on and they immediately want to give all the – and I want to make this a religious thing.
Sure. Don't miss that point to make this point, but yeah.
Yeah, but I just think we're going to give all the glory to God, and we're going to start there. Does that say that God doesn't like Denver? That there's nobody, everybody's sitting on the Broncos team, that God's sitting up like, okay.
Well, that one guy said a thing once, so you know what? I smite all of Denver. Yeah.
We got Stephon Diggs, and he is, I don't know, he's doing better. You win. And Broncos, I don't know, you were cheating on your wife at the strip club. No, you're going to lose. I get giving glory for whatever happens. I don't get the giving credit to, I appreciate where you start. It's a great witnessing forum. Love that, but I just think it's very interesting. Tickles me. But in this case, New England might be right.
Yeah.
There's a chance.
But there's also the Pope angle for the Seattle Seahawks that probably got overlooked.
There are people that aren't Catholic that are listening to the show right now that think that a lot of what's going on in the Catholic religion is incorrect, and so that they were punished. They were punished because the Pope is a Bears fan. It just, you can dissect it any way you want. I think it's interesting that if there's ever been a case for God cheering for one team, I think it's been the Patriots. This team has received such a charmed walk, and now they're getting the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold. So we're either going to have a team that had the easiest schedule and had all these things happen, lifting the Super Bowl championship trophy, or we're going to have Sam Darnold lifting a Super Bowl championship. And I think that's hard for people to wrap their brain on. Seattle, up to 5-point favorite. Game opens 3.5. Really didn't open 3.5. I never saw 3.5. I saw 4. I saw 4.5, and then most were 4.5 went to 5. I think they got a little bit skittish based on the way that the Broncos game went down. People look at recency bias, and they're like, okay, what happened today? What's going to happen next week because of what happened this week? And so it actually created value, at least right now. Now, we'll see. Super Bowl lines are not known for moving a ton. So when you get –
there's so much volume that comes in that it's hard to move those lines. Yeah.
And when they're at non-key numbers toward the favorite, that's the other deal. So we're over 4, 3, 3.5, 4. We moved over that. Now we're to 4.5, 5. So normally what you'll get is if any movement happens, it's toward the favorite. And this game would be that case as well, right? I mean, you've got a better team that didn't have a charmed walk, that did everything within the tougher conference, all those different things the general public will lead them to believe. I think it's going to be hard for the public to walk up and play New England, especially after what they saw happen at Denver. And they're going to start, when they start, everybody becomes Kenny Rogers this week. And so they all are good at handicapping. They're not, but they think they are. And so they're all going to basically regurgitate everything that ESPN says and what happened last week. That's all going to lead to Seattle. So that's the thing. The thing is 4.5 or 5. If you like Seattle, I suppose you could wait, and maybe the Sultan of Brunei or somebody comes in and bets $1 billion or something on the Patriots because he's pretty sure that God loves the Patriots also.
Does the Sultan of Brunei have an account on Kalshi? That's what I want to know.
There you go. So I did see that somebody lost $1.3 million on one of those.
Well, it was on UFC. Polymarket took a $1.3 million bet on Paddy Pimblett to beat Justin Gaethje in the main event of UFC 324, and that one, I mean, went to a decision. That's a tough coin flip at that point.
Yeah, he wasn't going to win though. I don't know if you watched that fight though. Gaethje decided to come out and poke him in both eyes.
I mean, he dominated the fight, but at the same time, like it was evident early that was a different Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, I'm not sure that if those guys fought 10 times, he'd win. That Pimblett would win many of those 10, but not being poked in the eye.
Helps.
Both highs. I mean, basically, both in the first round, he was dominating and poking him in the eyes. So, but yeah, so there's definitely some bigger bets that'll be coming, especially for the big game. But when you're talking about line movement, I don't know that it's going to move. It's not going to 6 for sure. They're going to get heavy on Seattle. So the good thing for the sports books, if you're talking about the back end of this stuff, and I've discussed many times with the guys that set the lines, and in particular the guys that actually created prop bets. John Murray from the Westgate. I mean, they basically, and Jay Corningate, those guys created the prop fad that's in America right now, and the pages and pages. Jay Corningate pretty much decided this is where they were going to go, and it's been a huge fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the guy that used to run the Westgate. Well, I do a TV show with him, but that part of it, it's such a safety net for them, because even if they get beat, if Seattle goes off at 5.5, and they're real heavy on Seattle, they'll still be fine in the game, because they're going to make a ton of money on the props, a ton of money on all the other things you can bet on. And if you're a client of mine, that's free money. I mean, we make money with those props every single year. Every year, it's not even close. And most of the time, it's like I offer 10 for free. It hasn't been 10 in 10 years. I mean, I'm giving away 15 to 20.
I want to say there was one a couple of years ago. We had 22 prop bets, and this is before we were offering prop bets as a package through the service. It was just something that was done for the Super Bowl. I want to say it was in the neighborhood of 22.
And I think we lost 6. I mean, it's one of those deals that I give
think one was the coin toss.
Yeah, coin toss. I give some longer shots on some things that we'll lose those sometimes, but
sure.
We'll give away 10 to 15 of these, and it's become a big part of my Super Bowl weekend. I used to just bet. So if I bet $5K on the game or $10K on the game or whatever, I would bet $500 on the props, because each.
Yeah. So, I'm in the boat of I will have 8 to 10 times the amount bet on prop bets than I will the side or the total combined.
Yeah, and that is in my world has gone up. So it used to be 5K to 500. Now it's more 5K to 1,000. So I'm a little more extended on those props, but they've been so good over the course of the last 10 to 15 years, and those are free. So when you sign up at FatJackSports.com, you're not paying for those. You're getting those plays for free. They're included in your package. So if you're going to Vegas or going to Kansas or wherever, and you'll get those the day before at least. So you'll get them Saturday at the latest, probably. Maybe Friday, but probably Saturday at the latest, because we've got a lot of time building up to figure out exactly what we're going to do. So a lot of reasons to get signed up for the Super Bowl package, the website, more reason to sign up for the entire year, because then you're basically getting all the profit this week and next week for free. So FatJackSports.com, sign up today and win this weekend. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to break down the game. We're going to look forward to any other opportunities we can take advantage of over Super Bowl weekend and get you ready for what's going to be another profitable run into February, into March Madness and beyond. So a lot of reasons to stay tuned. Don't go anywhere you're listening. The Fat Jack Sports Hour.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to FatJackSports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. FatJackSports.com.
Before the ball is tipped or a shot is even taken, before the crowd explodes or history is made.
If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally, set limits, and keep it fun.
When gambling becomes a problem,
visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and now here is our host. We think he is super. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 2, talking about the Super Bowl this week, getting you ready to make some money, not only this weekend, but all spring and all year long. Now is the time. Go to FatJackSports.com, get signed up for those longer packages, save a ton of money. It's about $60 a week is what you end up paying for football season when you sign up now. When you wait until football season, you're going to pay well over $100 a week, even if you get the season package. So there's benefits to taking to sign up now. Even if you don't like the free baseball, you're not going to play the horse racing, you're not going to do the preseason or all those different things going on this summer, it's still a better idea to sign up now because it saves you a bunch of money and you can pay out the service fee up to over 8 months. So far in the NFL playoffs, Brandon, By the way, FatJackSports.com for that. NFL playoffs so far, just kind of putting a bow on everything heading into the Super Bowl. Favorites to this point are 8-3 straight up. No, they're 9-3 straight up. 9-3 straight up are the favorites in the playoffs. Home teams are 8-4 against the spread. So home teams did really well. Home underdogs are, that is what, 1-0, so 4-1 against the spread. We talked last week about the Denver-New England game that, and I said this stat around the country, Brand, nobody believed it, and I don't normally pat myself on the back to this point with handicapping a game, but I will tell you that if you had Indiana in the national championship game and you had New England against Denver, you are never going to be a winning sports gambler with that. You're just not. It's you are the general public. You are what funds those casinos, and why they offer sports betting in its form are because of thought processes exactly like that. I went on all over the country, and honestly, I don't think I had one host and a producer, and they were actually in Oklahoma City. Of all the places, Jim Traber and Sam Humphreys both, I think Sam did, definitely liked Denver plus the points. Nobody else did.
Yeah, everyone was thinking, well, with Bo Nix, they don't have a shot. This number's, probably reflecting that. When the line came out and showed that how much Bo Nix was actually worth to that number, should have been an indicator for a lot of people.
For anybody, and there's some certain people, including some of these hosts. I understand why they're a host and some of them make $40,000 a year, because I go on with them every single week, all year long. And I'm not saying that you should bet on or say everything that I agree with, but you should definitely, at this point in the year, if I'm passionate about something, you might want to consider that you're on the wrong side. And it wasn't just me. That's the whole thing, and I should lead him with that. All of the sharp players that I know, and this is like anything else, Brandon. I know so many more people now. I try not to meet anybody. I don't want to know anybody, but I have met a ton of people in this business beside the John Murrays and Jay Corningay, guys that run the sports books. I've met a ton of guys, for me, 10 to 15 guys that this is all they do for a living. Some of them are great. Some of them are good. Some of them not as good, but they all think about things the same way. And that was one of those games, not one person like New England against Denver, not one.
Of that circle, right.
Of the circle, yeah. Everybody outside the circle liked New England, every one of them. But, and I said this stat on the air around the country about that game, and then we'll move on to I'll finish this list. But I said to everybody, you realize that there's been 9 times, Brandon, in the last 50 years. So I'm 55. In my lifetime, there have been 9 times in the NFL playoffs. Think about this. So you know this stat?
Yes.
All right.
But only because you told me.
Gotcha. So nine times in 50 years that a home team in the playoffs, not in the divisional round, not in the playoffs, has been a 4.5 point or greater underdog. So exactly what happened in Denver, and actually exactly what happened with the Rams when they went to Carolina. You're getting more than 4.5 in the playoffs at home. There's been 9 times it's happened. They are 0-9. The favorites are 9 now 10. They're now 10-0 after Denver covering that number. 10-0 over 50 years of getting that many points. I asked every single host. I said, "Prove me wrong."
Right. Believe it or disprove it.
Believe or disprove it. You won't find a home dog. I know a lot of them went and said that cannot be true.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you think about it, though, if you're a home team in the playoffs, odds are you had a better record, so you're probably the better team. So I mean that tracks out, and to research that, I mean, like you said, over 50 years of NFL playoff games, there aren't going to be many opportunities where a home playoff team is going to be an underdog, period, let alone over 4.5 points.
And it takes this type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. It takes recency bias. Somebody got blown out. A lot of times you'll get that wild card team, similar to what happened in the division with Seattle and with the Rams, that type of stuff. You'll get a team that is really, really good that has to go travel because another team won a division, and then they had blown somebody out in their first round. So then there might be that situation. But every single time, the underdog covers over the last 50 years, and that's exactly what happened. So it wasn't just that, but those type things, if you're a guy that you're like, hey, New England, God loves them. We're going to play them. You're going to lose money. Hey, Indiana, they're the most balanced. They had done X, Y, and Z over the last 3 weeks. God may love them too. You're going to lose there too. So those are more reasons to get signed with FatJackSports.com. Home underdogs, I said, 4-1 against the spread in the playoffs. Teams getting 50% of the bets, which is normally a stat that you would think would be reversed, but they were actually 8-4. No, sorry, 7-5 against the spread.
Is that total number of tickets, or is that money wagered?
That is money wagered.
Okay.
No, sorry, bets. So it's tickets. That's going to be tickets. So 7-5 against the spread. So that's rare. Normally, you're going to get more tickets than it's going to be a loser because that's where you're creating value with all those tickets going on the wrong team. So best team against the spread in the playoffs, Bears were 2-0. The Patriots were 2-1 so far. So pretty good. Worst team against the spread, the Los Angeles Rams, 0-3. So and they're at home now.
Big favorites at Carolina and barely won. Didn't cover in Chicago, and then didn't cover in Seattle.
Should have covered Chicago.
Yep.
Long midfield pass by whatever that.
Forgetting to cover one of the better young tight ends in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Total 6-6. So if you're looking to play some of these trends, the totals have not been any good. There's been no. I've been great in the totals. This last week we had under in the right one, we had over in the other one. So we've been good, but overall you're not going to get a lot from that. The other thing that's really interesting this time of year, and this is going to lead you back to New England, Brandon. This is a lot of numbers and stuff. I could tell some stories. I've got some stuff. I had gout for 2 weeks. That's weird. But some of this stuff is important. We're going to the Super Bowl. Since 2003, Brandon, Super Bowl favorites. Any idea how well they've done?
Okay, so 2003 was actually the first year I started working with you. So this is Super Bowl favorites against the spread. I'm going to go, so this is 22 seasons. I'm going to guess they are barely above 500. So I will say that they are 12-10.
Super Bowl favorites since 2003 are 7-15 against the spread.
Okay. I was way off.
Not looking favorites this week. If you're just generally speaking, you're looking at, but that's what we do, right? We only play the better teams. We don't look at lines. We don't know how to fact. And I'm not saying you should jump on New England. Like I said, I've talked about how New England got here and what they are, but I just think the historical facts, they are important. And so we should talk about, what about favorites of more than 3 points? They're on a 2-9 run against the spread.
Goodness.
So not good. If you are if you're a favorite guy in the Super Bowl, you most of the time are leaving sad. That's why we talk about my record. The times that the favorites have covered, most of the time I'm on the total those times. So that's for whatever reason, my handicapping, I rarely play favorites during the Super Bowl. I have before. I think we had the Chiefs when they covered one. But most of the time, if I'm led toward the favorite, they had better be a really strong favorite, and the number had better be really good. Or I go to the total, which I've been able to hit a lot of times. This most years you're going to get side and total. You're going to get predicted final score and a lot of prop bets as you are this year. So a great time to go to FatJackSports.com. But if you're one of those that's jumping out on Seattle, you are the same. If you're the guy that says I'm locking Seattle, love Seattle, you're the same guy that had Indiana. You're the same guy that had New England. I'm not saying they're not going to cover. I'm just saying that you should always – it's a cause for pause when you start playing favorites this time of year because underdogs outperform favorites most of the time as we head into the offseason. So FatJackSports.com. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Just go get signed up. Pay the least amount possible right now.
Let Jack worry about it. Yeah.
Let me worry about it because I understand the importance. My bankroll understands the importance. I don't like losing, so I don't like losing money, and I only gamble for money. I don't care about – who everybody thinks God's a fan of. I don't care about Drake May. He's not cute to me at all. I don't really want to pick him out of a lineup. A lot of people love Drake May. I think he's really cute. I don't care. I'm only looking to cover spreads. That's it. And I'm going to find you a lot of prop bets. Also, they're going to help you cover spreads. So just kind of an overview of the game. What are your thoughts, Brandon, on the game? You as we head at total, let's look at total. So total's 46.5. Or it was 45.5. Where are we right now? Because it moved immediately, but hasn't really budged since.
As of this recording, we are looking at 46.5.
So, and I don't think it'll move much off that. This is a total you can see either way. I mean, New England is going to have, they're not in the snow. So the recency bias people, there will be kind of both. You'll have people that say, they'll be able to score and they'll move the ball. Drake May's enough, and Diggs and company has been good. And then you'll have other guys that say, yeah, you know what, they do it with defense. So does Seattle. Seattle's points have been, a lot of their points have been off turnovers or being real opportunistic. Don't expect New England to do that, blah, blah, blah. A longer drive for the Patriots. So I don't think the total is going to move much. What are your thoughts? 46.5. You like over under?
I love the over. Seattle's offense has been good enough to beat up on bad teams. I mean, they hung 40 on the Cardinals. They hung 40 on Washington. But you look at what they've done over the last 6 weeks alone. 41 against San Francisco, 31 against the Rams, 31 against the Steelers, 44 against the Saints, 35 in a losing effort against Tampa Bay. That offense can score. Their defense is good enough to create turnovers. I think they have by far the better special teams unit and a super special teams player in Rashid Shaheed, who they got at the trade deadline. You bring him back to Seattle, I think is an absolute playmaker. He's actually a guy I'm going to target on an MVP bet, just because I think if he gets I think he's a guy who could catch a touchdown and also return a touchdown. I just based on what Seattle can do offensively, coupled with how opportunistic that defense is, I think they're going to score in the 30s at least. And if that's the case, I only need 16 out of the Patriots. I can see that game going over the total.
So I think a lot of people will look at it like you're looking at, and they will say, okay, well, if Seattle wins, it probably goes over.
Sure.
Because they put New England in a spot where they have to open up the offense.
Yep.
If New England covers, which we just went over the stats, underdog versus favorites.
Yep.
If you're going to be an underdog player, it leans toward the under for sure. When you talk about New England and Seattle specifically, New England's gone over 6 of their last 8 games, so they have been scoring. And we can throw out this last week, right?
Sure. That was an absolute anomaly.
Yeah, and they weren't going to go over even without the snowstorm. But yeah, the bet I was not worried about midway through the third quarter was the total going over. Yeah. I wasn't even a problem. I thought New England might come back and cover late, but no, I definitely wasn't worried about the total. I was already spending that money. But you throw that one out, New England's gone over 6 of 8 games of their last 8. And when they play Seattle, the last 7 games have all gone over. So when these two teams get together, which isn't every year, but I'm saying that they have gone over a bunch. So, but I think if you're a Seattle player, the consensus will be you're probably an over player. Because you feel it's a little bit like I said about the Rams and why we played over the Rams. The Rams are going to get theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I think we think Seattle's probably going to get theirs, right? I mean, that's going to be the general consensus. So if Seattle's going to get theirs for New England to cover, they're going to have to score 2. That leads you toward the over. If you think New England, so the danger with that is if you're wrong, and history would tell you you're wrong, is that New England is going to cover, is what history will tell you. We just talked about it. Favorites over.
Just gave all the reasons why, right?
Yeah, 3.5 points. To me, 2-9 run against the spread. New England will cover if they had been in the last 11 games where exactly this number, they cover 9 of those 11 games. So if that happens, you are in danger. That only happens. What I think the consensus will be going in is if New England's able to get stops, and they are able to stop Seattle. Sam Darnold becomes Sam Darnold.
Right, comes back to earth a little bit, yeah.
The lights are too bright, which I'm not sure. Anybody, if after the game, anybody gonna be surprised? A, if he wins the MVP, or B, if they lose by 2 touchdowns. I mean, I think the variance with Sam Darnold is still really high. I talked to a lot of people off on different shows last week, and a lot of them would say, well, if they win at home against the Rams, and he produces, then that whole he's no good in the playoffs, that mantra needs to really be relaxed.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that. He's definitely passing the test. But I would also say he's got, by the way, incredible system around him. They're not
much like he did last year in Minnesota when he won 14 games.
Yeah, they're not making him throw the ball down the field hardly at all. And they are really good defensively. They are opportunistic taking the ball away. They did get the benefit of a fluke punt deal.
I still can't. I saw a replay of that this morning, and I still just was like, what was he doing? What, I've never returned a punt in my life. I don't think I could do that.
You have to fall and then decide you can still make a play is what that was. He trips over his own feet and then decides I still can make a play versus getting out of the way. Listen, I'm not a punt returner either. I get making mistakes, but I'm just saying that had a little bit to do with who won the game. When you give a team that you're evenly matched with, those two teams have played twice already this year. They were separated by 1 total yard and 1 point. If you're going to fall down and look like a middle school player on a punt return and give them the ball in the 20, it's going to be hard to overcome that. Now, they did have something, the personal foul penalty, on the taunting penalty on the other end, absolutely a big deal. So I'm not just saying that was it. It's I think really pretty amateur and a weak way of saying that was the only reason. I'm just saying evenly matched games come down to 2 or 3 different mistakes, plays, or officiating calls. That one certainly had a lot to do with that. So I'm not sure Sam Darnold gets a pass just yet. He should beat New England, right? I mean, if we're sitting here before the game, Seattle should beat New England. Now maybe they don't cover, and I don't know how the scoring is gonna go. But when you're talking about Seattle as a big favorite in the game, he should win this game. So if he doesn't win, I don't know that it's going to be about the defense.
How does the narrative change if because it feels as if the monkey's sort of been lifted off the back of Sam Darnold after what he did with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota last year. It's gone to Seattle, and myself included, among many people, thought that there was going to be a drop-off. He's played pretty dang good football over the last 2 years. If he goes and throws 2 picks and they lose this game, is the last 2 years null and void? I mean, what the narrative around Sam Darnold can definitely change here. But to that point, if he wins, is he fixed? Is he cured?
Yeah, I don't think even if he loses, I don't think he goes back anywhere near where he was when he first was drafted.
Yeah, when he was seeing ghosts with the Jets,
Carolina and the Jets and stuff. So yeah, I think he's certainly a good quarterback. I'm just saying that I don't know how much. We're not talking about winning and losing. Really, we're talking about covering spreads.
Yep.
And when you're covering spreads and you're over 3 or 3.5 in the NFL in the Super Bowl, that is uphill. That is swimming into the current. So you have to have all hands on deck to get that done. And I'm talking about from a gambler standpoint. Am I okay understanding that 2 of the last 11 favorites over 3 points in the Super Bowl it's all it's covered, 2 of the last 11. Am I okay saddling Sam Darnold up for that role and saying, all right, how much will I bet on that? This is the thought process of what I do. It's not about the winning. It's not about the history of what Sam Darnold, Seattle is. It's can they dominate a New England team that may have God being their 12th man. So still trying to figure that out. FatJackSports.com. We will have it figured out by Super Bowl Sunday. We will have at least 10 to – I mean, let's just – who we kidding? We're going to have at least 15 prop bets, probably closer to 20. During the conference championship rounds, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. What, 14 or 15? We won. We won. We were 7-6, I guess, so 13. So, yeah, we had 13 just in those 2 games. We'll have at least that with all the different ways there are to bet prop bets during the Super Bowl. We'll have at least 13 to 15 props, probably more. And you get all those for free when you sign up at FatJackSports.com, whether you sign up for just this weekend's championship games. And if you're listening to the show early in the week or early, get signed up for everything between now and then. There will be a lot of profit going all week long, all during the weekend, and all next week. So get those longer packages. It'll save you a ton of money. You're paying less for that. You're building profit so that when you get to Super Bowl Sunday, you can make a good decision long term. You can build profit over the spring. Last year, after the Super Bowl, we went on about an 8 or 9 day run where we lost about 7 or 8 games of basketball profit. And then we won about 25 games of profit over the following 3 weeks, as, by the way, we headed into March Madness and went into March Madness. Really, really strong runs in hoops happen this time of year. The week leading up to championship week, we turned about 3 games of profit. In basketball, a little over 3. That's an average week. You turn 4 games of profit per week in hoops, you make money, right? It's about 50 games over the course of the season if you're averaging about 3 or 4. So ready for a big, big run. We will have about 3 or 4 runs over the season that are better than 15 games of profit. So 17-2, 18-3, those type runs. and we've only had one of those so far. So 2 or 3 of those are coming as we head into the spring. Great time to get signed up. Great time to get those big stretches of winning basketball profit. Of course, the World Cup coming very soon. Baseball season is reporting.
The Olympics are coming.
Olympics are coming. We may have some Olympic stuff. I got a couple guys that fancy themselves as a Olympic gambler. So we'll see if they give any. You won't have to pay for it. It'll be free. It'll be sent out to all the clients that sign up. So as we go through the Olympics, look for some extra plays. So there will not be a time where there's nothing to do. World Cup, of course, coming up, baseball and everything else. So FatJackSports.com, get those longer packages now and start making money.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. And for the final time this football season, here is our host, a man poised and ready to make you money yet again in the Super Bowl. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 3, getting you ready for the Super Bowl and so much more, by the way. We were talking off the air about the Olympics starting up on Thursday. They're going all the next 2.5, 3 weeks. We will probably most likely have, you can bet on all this stuff. So, and there will be crossover bets also between the Olympics and the Super Bowl. So opportunity, I don't know how much of that we'll take advantage of, but we definitely will have some different bets we'll be betting during the Olympics, and those will be free. There will not be an Olympic package. So even the guy that thinks he's good at the Olympics, he'll send them because I made him a ton of money this year in football, and I will send those for free. So when you sign up, FatJackSports.com, you'll get Olympic stuff as well. And we're talking about some of the crossover opportunities. I mean, there's so many different, nothing's up yet for this stuff, but, which is more likely to happen? The amount of field goals or the amount of falls in the women's figure skating?
One of my favorite ones is, and it's always Super Bowl weekend because the Waste Management Open is in Phoenix. It is the final round score of the winner of the tournament versus X players rushing yards or something like that. Or you always get the yardage of the longest field goal made versus like Luka Doncic points, rebounds, and assists. You're going to be flooded with opportunities over the next few weeks to like you said, cross sport some of this stuff. There's the world is your oyster at this point.
We're going to decipher all that kind of stuff. You can actually right now make a parlay of Sam Darnold to win the MVP and Fannie Smith to win freestyle skiing. I mean, if you want to do that, go right ahead. I mean, you throw a 3-teamer in there with some ice hockey.
Yeah, Norway to win the most gold medals. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to really get after it and be busy the next 3 weeks as the snow may or may not be coming, I mean, we're talking also off the air. This has nothing to do with winning money.
No,
I mean, we've lost control as a country.
We've lost the plot in a lot of ways, and yeah, this is just one indication.
It's just something to do, and I get that, but all I'm encouraging you is if you're going to just something to do it, also get quality information from me that will help you actually win or offset your Fannie Smith, Sam Darnold parlay.
Let the money you make with the Fat Jack Sports Service absorb your stupidity in betting curling. Yeah. Yeah,
giving you something to do. But I also tell you, what is it? You can't play golf if you're in lots of country. You're going to go bowling. You're going to go to Bush Leagues there in Oklahoma City and do the simulator, or you're going to have a Fannie Smith, Sam Darnold parlay.
Golf simulators are the wave, are the next. I feel like indoor golf simulators companies are the next wave of like where pickleball was over the last 3 to 4 years, and maybe where I don't even remember what the fad thing was before that. But hey, there's some fun indoor golf simulators. I really enjoy.
Yeah, so I mean, now's definitely the time to branch out a little bit. And we were talking about Kalshi off the air also. You can bet on just about anything there in all the states, even the states that don't have sports gambling. They do not have a promo code for us, right?
Yeah, no, but they're if you're watching us on YouTube, if you've downloaded the podcast, in the description there will be a link to get like $25 for signing up for Kalshi. So
yeah, and if enough people, if I get any money back on that, I'll turn around and if Murray continues to lose on his picks of the week, I'll start
play
giving
those.
give away the Kalshi money that we're getting for people signing up. So I mean, I keep expecting him to go on an 8-0 heater, and I forgot to tell him that. And by the way, if you're out there, you know what we're talking about, you're listening around the country, just go follow us on social media at Fat Jack Sports and listen to the 2 minutes to win it with Murray Parrish. And if and when he wins, if you like and follow that video, we're going to give away $250. The problem has been it's been a dry spell, to say the least.
Generational run.
Generational dry spell for him. It's coming back because almost everybody hits around 50%. So just as the season's wrapping up, we get into basketball. If he does picks there, he's probably going to go on an 8-0 run. We're giving away a lot of money. So don't quit on it because it's going to come back at some point. But yeah, those type of things. You want to bet Kalshi? That may be something for next year. It's just anti-Murray on Kalshi in Oklahoma every week.
And not even just in Oklahoma. Just like you said, wherever you are in the country, you can follow us on socials. So.
Follow on socials, anti him, and then we'll anti-Murray. It'll be an anti-Murray play. And then at the end of the year, we'll give away that money. I'll take back I'll start with $1,000. We'll anti him $1,000.
That's every week.
He'd be what, 8,000? We'd be giving away $8,000. You don't think we'd get some movement on social media if Murray would keep this type of consistency up? And we just bet $1,000 a game opposite. And then at the end of the year, we had a big party and gave away the $8 grand.
Ooh, maybe we can get one of the big checks like Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore or The Office, although it costs $300 or $400 for the big check. So we're going to need Murray to stay on this type of run.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's been a fun segment. Go follow us on social media if you don't know what we're talking about there at Fat Jack Sports. Like and follow those videos for a chance to win $250. So how are we doing on time, Brandon?
We're good.
Any final thoughts on the game?
Like I said earlier, I've going 8 to 10x in terms of the amount of money that I'll put into props that I will put into the either the side or the total. I feel like that number this year is going to be higher because I don't know if there's enough value in, and we'll obviously wait to see what you put out. But I feel like I have more fun betting the props because that gives me something to track throughout the game as opposed to just betting the side or the total, especially in the Super Bowl.
It certainly has helped that we've been very successful with those as well. So, and those are free. So when you sign up, you don't have to decide whether you want the props or you want the game in total. You're getting both. For one price. So go to fatjacksports.com, sign up, wager responsibly. Don't drink and drive. So if you drink it with your Super Bowl party, definitely take an Uber home. Uber drivers can certainly use it. And have a great week. We'll be back next week. We're talking about basketball. We get into the conference play. We'll be heading toward March Madness. Baseball starting up, more soccer, and so much more. Don't let Sunday night pass and you have not signed up for the season package, guys. It'll save you a ton of money to do it now versus waiting. Everybody have a great week. I'll talk to you next week. This has been, for Brandon and Fat Jack Sports Hour.